Okay. The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Or is there a 3 in the title? Might just be The Devil Made Me Do It. Massive fan. A lot of my friends aren't. Love The Conjuring. The whole universe. Love James Wan's work. This is actually my favorite. I'm sure the few people watching this review will already be like, oh no. So yeah, take my opinion with a grain of salt. Massive fan of the stuff. James Wan, there's no denying that the guy has created some of the most successful horror franchises of all time. I mean, Insidious is still going on. Patrick Wilson is actually going to direct the fifth one. I hear Saw is still going on. The Conjuring is still going on. There's no denying Wan's talent. In fact, I'll tell you, my favorite of Wan's films, Death Sentence. This is slightly off topic. If you haven't seen Death Sentence, highly recommended. Like, wow. If you like that revenge thriller, kind of Death Wish, The Crow type of thing, this hasn't been seen by enough people. Love James Wan. So, with that in mind, it's obvious that this is going to be a step down from the previous ones, which James Wan had directed. He's not the director here. And, you know, like with Saw 2, there's a huge step down for me. With Insidious 3, as much as I like it, there was a step down, even though the writer was directing his stuff. I don't have the talent Wan does either. So I wouldn't be able to follow up The Conjuring 2 with anything better than what I watched today. I think this is a really solid horror film. Oh, look. There's the sunglasses I was looking for. This is a really solid horror film, and I think that this is going to be overly bashed right out of the gate because of, you know, people's aversion to the religious, because of the Warrens, essentially, because a lot of people think the Warrens were, you know, hoaxers and scam artists, and that they use their religion to pull a fast one on a lot of people. I don't know if that's right or wrong, and I don't care. The other reason people are going to bash this right out of the gate is because it sort of sets itself up as a courtroom sort of story. It really does. And in fact, going into this, it was like, oh, yeah, we're going to hear about this case and this trial. And yeah, there's none of that in there. I hope this isn't a spoiler. They don't deal with the trial like at all. Like, this is very much, they said we're going to move away from the haunted house aspect and shit. And I'm thinking, oh no, we're going to get a boring courtroom procedural. There's none of that at all. I mean, it's really like basically maybe under 5 minutes of courtroom scenes. And the rest is very much, maybe not as much of a haunted house film as the previous two, but it treads in the same territory. It's still dealing with curses and haunted rooms and shadows. So where does it fall? Like, did I enjoy myself as a Conjuring fan? Oh, hell yes. Oh, hell yes. I think the biggest problem is the lack of creatures. Like, when I think of Jane, and again, this goes with what I was saying earlier, there's a step down in creativity here, as there would be with practically any director taking over for James Wan, but there's a lack of fresh, exciting creatures. There's as good as the cinematography is, and this film looks amazing, amazing. I mean, some of the camera work is hypnotic, but the setups aren't as good. The pacing isn't as good. It's just not as fine tuned. It's not the work of a master. You know, I just watched the Scanners trilogy, which I loved, but watching the sequels, it's obvious nobody can follow up Cronenberg and nobody can follow up Wan. And those are my feelings about this film in a nutshell. It's, if you liked the first two movies, like if you're a Conjuring fan like me, you should see this. And I would recommend seeing it on the big screen. We watch it at home because we've got to take advantage of our HBO Max subscription. It's also on Max, but I could see going to see this a second time in the theater. In fact, we watched it a couple times already. Enjoyed it both times. Got new stuff from it both times. And as a tale of the Warrens, their love story, their connection, this is, a great film. Like, if you go into it for those characters, you're not going to be disappointed. Everything around it isn't as good because this is Juan's world and this is somebody else sort of taking the reins, and it's obvious he just doesn't understand the material as well, and that's fine. I don't either. So I enjoyed this for what it was. Not as good as the first two, for sure. But I recommend that if you like The Conjuring, you should definitely see this. Fork out the money, go to a cheap Tuesday screening if you can't, if you don't want to, if you're unsure of it. But if you didn't like the first two, yeah, you're going to be like, this is garbage. All right. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Cheers, my friends.